Hello, everyone. Tonight, we are stepping onto a grassland older than maps where the wind doesn't just whistle, it warns. Picture it, an endless sea of tall, brittle grass, under a sky so wide it makes you feel like a flea. The stars look unfamiliar tonight, and they should. These are the stars of an age before ours, when the land didn't answer to man, and even the hyenas thought twice before laughing. You shuffle forward your feet, brushing the dry blades, ears catching the distant cackle of a pack. But that sound, that comfort of knowing who hunts whom, is thin tonight, like it's retreating before you can make sense of it. And here's the thing. Whatever's out here with you probably won't survive. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you really like what I do here. And tell me in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is. I love seeing how far these stories travel. Now turn off the lights, maybe turn on the fan for some soothing noise, and let's get started tonight. The night air clings to your skin warmer than it should be. The wind pushes against your face in slow gusts, carrying with it the scent of dry soil, old fur, and something sharp underneath, like the smell of metal left too long in the sun. The grass whispers as it parts around your legs, and above you clouds the color of bruises drift across the stars. There's no moon tonight, or if there is, it's hiding. The hyenas, normally loud and shameless in their chatter, seem far away, their calls muffled or cut short. You pause, straining to catch the direction of their voices, but it's as if the wind itself is swallowing the sound. Historians still debate whether ancient grassland hyenas formed complex social groups like those seen in today's spotted hyenas, or whether they lived more like solitary scavengers. But tonight, there's no pack song, no laughter, just an uneasy hush. Off to your left, the grasses part with a rustle that's too slow for a predator's charge, too deliberate for the wind. You freeze, every nerve awake. Maybe it's a rhinoceros, you think, or an old elephant bull wandering without purpose. But no, the air smells wrong. Even your own breath seems to stick in your throat. Here's an odd fact: the grass you're walking through. It's part of what some scientists call ghost prairies, landscapes that thrived for thousands of years before vanishing entirely as climates shifted and human hands remade the world. These grasslands bore witness to secrets we'll never fully recover. And tonight, you're walking through one of them before it earned that ghost title. You crouch low, hand brushing the dirt, feeling for the story it might tell. The soil is warm, warmer than the air even. That's not right. It's as if the land holds onto some hidden fire. The wind picks up again, this time from the south, bringing a faint distant roar like water, or maybe the stamp of hooves. But no water runs here, and no herd should move at this hour. Your mind drifts, searching for an explanation. Maybe the hyenas caught scent of lions and fled. Maybe. But lions roar when they claim the dark, and tonight there's nothing but that steady rising hum beneath the breeze. You try a joke aloud. Next stop, nowhere good, but the sound of your own voice unnerves you. The grass seems to lean in, listening. Suddenly the wind shifts again, colder this time, carrying a smell that churns your stomach. It's like rot, but older, deeper, the scent of something that died a long time ago, but refused to decay. You take a step back, heart thumping loud enough to rival any hyena's call. And then, the wind dies just for a moment, and in that pause you hear it, a low groaning noise, as if the earth itself is protesting some ancient memory. The grass around you trembles slightly, though no breeze moves it. You look up at those strange stars again, hoping for guidance, and feel smaller than you ever have before. Here's something to chew on while you try not to panic. Some early human ancestors in these regions may have carried small carved talismans meant to ward off the unseen. Funny, isn't it? Even before we had cities, we carried our fears in our pockets. The wind returns stronger now, pushing you forward whether you want to move or not. You glance over your shoulder, but the night offers no answers. The hyenas are gone or hiding, and whatever kept them off these grasslands, it's still out there. waiting. You stumble onward, feet crunching over dry earth, the grass pulling at your legs like desperate hands. The wind's push becomes a shove, and your mind races ahead, trying to outpace the fear rising in your chest. You don't want to look down, but instinct demands it. And there beneath the weak starlight, you see them. Tracks. Not the neat, narrow prints of antelope or the paw pads of a lion. No, these are wide as your chest with claw marks that sink deep into the hardened ground. Too wide for any predator you know. Too deep as if the thing that made them carried a weight the earth resented. You kneel beside one brushing away loose dust, half hoping you've made a mistake. But the print is real, frighteningly so. Each toe is tipped with a gouge that suggests claws the size of your hand. The heel mark digs in as if whatever walked here moved slowly, heavily, with no reason to rush. Odd fact for the night, the oldest known hyena fossils date back over 22 million years, long before the creatures we picture today. Some of those ancient hyenas weren't even hunters. They were more like oversized badgers, better at digging than chasing. And yet even those tough old bones would have been wise to steer clear of whatever left these prints. A cold shiver runs down your spine even though the air remains warm and still. Historians still debate whether early humans on these plains learned to read such tracks out of curiosity, necessity, or raw terror. You're pretty sure terror wins tonight. You follow the trail half dragged by the same dread that keeps you moving. The prints lead toward a patch where the grass thins and the earth cracks in wide, dry veins. Each step you take lands inside a print that feels too fresh. The edges haven't crumbled. The depth holds a trace of moisture as if whatever passed here did so only moments before. The grass around the trail seems flattened, not as if trampled by hooves, but pressed down by something broader, heavier. You imagine a beast taller than a man, with shoulders wide enough to darken the moonlight. Your heartbeat quickens, your breath loud in your ears. And just then you hear it, a single soft clatter like stone against stone. You freeze. Nothing moves. The grass hushes, the wind dies, and for a heartbeat the world holds its breath with you. You whisper to yourself, trying to stay steady. Okay, big animal. Moved on. We're just late to the party. But the joke falls flat, swallowed by the dark. The ground feels too still beneath your feet, as if listening. You glance back along the trail, hoping to see the prints fade away, to vanish into distance or darkness. Instead, they seem to deepen as they go, leading to a low rise where the stars flicker strangely. Your eyes play tricks, or maybe it's the night, but you think you see something there, a shape hunched and massive blending into the landscape. The track pattern is odd. No drag marks, no signs of struggle. Just those clean, deliberate prints. You think of the hyenas again, how their prints would scatter, how their paws would tear up the soil as they ran. But here only this heavy walker has passed, and the hyenas nowhere to be found. Here's a peculiar bit of trivia. Some ancient grassland cultures believed the land itself could swallow the tracks of evil beings, erasing their passage to protect the living. You wish the ground had been that kind tonight. You crouch again, touching the soil beside one of the prints. It's still warm. Warmer than the air, as if the print itself glows faintly beneath your palm. That can't be right. You pull your hand back and wipe it on your leg as if the warmth might cling. The wind returns in a sudden gust, sharp and biting, carrying with it a sound you'd rather not hear, a low rhythmic thudding, far off but approaching. Like a heartbeat, but wrong. Too slow, too heavy. You stand torn between running and hiding, though neither seems like a real option. You force a laugh, weak and hollow. Maybe it's just a fat old rhino, you mutter. But the joke dies on your lips as the sound grows clearer. The trail of prints ends at the rise where the grass lies flattened in a wide circle. Beyond that, the ground dips into shadow, and whatever waits there it hasn't left. The thudding stops, the night listens, and you hold your breath, waiting for the next sign that you're not alone. You stay frozen, hoping foolishly that whatever left those prints has moved on, but as your ears adjust, you realize something far more chilling. The grassland has fallen silent. Not the normal hush of night where insects hum and small creatures rustle. No, this is the kind of silence that swallows sound whole. The kind that makes even the hyenas, those shameless scavengers of the plains, retreat. You remember their laughter sharp and crude echoing across the grass earlier tonight. But now, not a single cackle, not a yip. The air is empty of their mischief. The pack is gone, and with them the strange comfort of knowing where the predators are. You glance around as if expecting to see a hyena's silhouette skulking in the distance, but there's nothing. No glowing eyes, no shapes slinking between the grass. Historians still debate whether ancient hyenas held some instinctive respect for larger predators, or whether they simply learned from harsh experience to avoid certain places. What's clear tonight is that the hyenas knew better than you did. They sensed something coming long before you caught the first whiff of dread. And that's when you notice the oddest thing of all. The grass, usually restless in the night breeze, stands unnaturally still. The blades seem to hold their breath alongside you. Even the wind that has been your companion, your warning, is gone. The world feels paused, as if the land itself is waiting. You try to break the tension with a muttered, "Well, maybe they're at a silent disco I wasn't invited to." But the joke sounds foolish in the thick hush, and your own voice startles you. You half expect something to answer, but nothing does. Here's a strange fact to chew on in parts of ancient Africa. Some tribes believe that hyenas could see spirits, that their laughter wasn't mockery but warning. That their vanishing meant they'd glimpsed something no mortal should face. Tonight you wonder if those old stories had a point. You take a step forward, then another, drawn by curiosity even as your heart thuds against your ribs. The ground beneath your feet feels soft, too soft, like it's been disturbed. And the air it carries a scent that turns your stomach. It's not rot exactly, more like a mix of wet ash and something sweet like overripe fruit left too long in the sun. The silence deepens, pressing in on your ears. You try to swallow, but your mouth is dry. Your eyes flick to the horizon, hoping for moonlight, a shape, a sign. But the stars offer no guidance and the night remains stubbornly empty. You crouch low again, fingers brushing the soil, hoping for some clue. The ground here is marked by shallow grooves, as if something massive scraped across it, not in panic, but with slow, deliberate movement. The trail arcs wide, circling where the hyenas once prowled. You imagine their keen noses catching the scent, their sharp eyes catching a glimpse of something too large, too strange, and turning tail without a second thought. You stand, every sense on edge. The grass around you seems to lean away, as if whatever passed through left behind more than tracks. You can almost hear the echo of the hyena's flight paws pounding the earth in a retreat that left no room for pride. And here's the odd part: no sign of a kill. No bones, no tufts of fur, no blood. The pack didn't leave because they'd eaten. They left because the land told them to. Or because something bigger, older, more dangerous than them laid claim to this patch of earth. A soft breeze stirs at last, cold against your skin. It carries with it a faint low sound, not the laughter of hyenas, but something deeper. A hum. A growl. You can't tell. It's so low it feels like it comes from beneath your feet rather than the air. You whisper to yourself a desperate kind of comfort. Maybe I should have taken up knitting instead of night walks. The joke lands no better than the last, but at least it fills the silence for a moment. You look back the way you came, half tempted to retrace your steps. But the trail of prints, the grooves in the dirt, the vanished hyenas. All of it feels like a warning you've already ignored too long. And so, with the taste of ash and fear on your tongue, you push forward into the dark, following the path of whatever scared the hyenas off the grasslands. You press onward, the grass parting reluctantly before you as if the very land wishes you'd turn back. Your feet crunch over patches where the soil feels brittle, the blades of grass giving way to something darker beneath. And then you see it, blackened earth stretching out in uneven patches like the scars of some ancient battle. You kneel beside one of these patches, running your fingers over the cracked surface. The earth flakes under your touch, revealing layers of ash and charcoal. At first, you think of wildfire lightning strikes, perhaps, or the burn of some forgotten dry season. But no, these scars don't spread like natural fires. They form odd shapes, strange curves, as if something or someone laid them down with purpose. Here's an authoritative fact to warm your bones. Grassland fires have been part of Earth's ecosystem for millions of years, shaping plant life, animal behavior, and even early human hunting techniques. But historians still debate whether certain ancient peoples or forces ever controlled fire intentionally on this scale before agriculture began. Tonight, staring at these fire scars, you can't shake the feeling that the burns were deliberate. The air smells of old smoke like a campfire long gone cold, but unwilling to be forgotten. And beneath that, the same sickly sweet odor that lingers at the edge of your senses, pulling at your stomach. The ground here is too quiet, as if the grass itself mourns whatever was lost to flame. You rise, brushing soot from your fingers, and squint at the land ahead. The fire-scarred patches form a kind of patterned spiral, circles, lines that stretch toward the horizon. You wonder, half joking, if you've stumbled into some prehistoric crop circle, though the humor fades as fast as it comes. The wind picks up again, swirling ash into the air, stinging your eyes. The sound of it masks everything else. No hyena yip, no insect hum, no distant predator's growl. Just the hiss of ash sliding over ash. Odd fact of the night. There are plants in modern grasslands that depend on fire to reproduce seeds that won't sprout unless flame cracks them open. Imagine that life born from destruction. You're starting to think the same might be true of the thing you're following tonight. You step carefully between the burned patches, the soil soft and crumbling underfoot. The grass beyond the scars seems healthier, taller, as if the fire fed it somehow. But it also seems to lean away from the burns, as if wary of what the fire represented. Your path takes you up a low rise where the burns form a wide crescent like the mark of a giant hoof. You pause, heart-pounding, and try to shake the idea. But the shape is too clean, too intentional. Historians still debate whether certain massive herbivores of the ancient plains had relationships with fire, whether they followed burned paths for fresh growth or avoided them out of instinctive fear. You're beginning to understand why. You wipe sweat from your brow, the warmth of the night, pressing close despite the cold breeze. The air tastes of ash, now dry and bitter. The stars above seem to flicker through the haze as if struggling to pierce the smoke. You mutter, trying to break the tension. Nothing says a good night walk like breathing in history's barbecue. But even you don't laugh. The joke falls flat against the empty dark. The wind shifts again, and with it comes that low throbbing hum, faint but present. It seems to come from the earth, vibrating up through your feet. You freeze, every muscle tense, listening. The sound fades, then returns irregular, as if the ground beneath you struggles to remember some ancient rhythm. And then you see it far ahead where the fire scars end the grass parts around a wide, dark shape. It's still silent, but you know it's no boulder, no tree, no harmless landmark. The burned earth at your feet seems to pulse with memory, as if trying to warn you. But your feet carry you forward, drawn by equal parts fear and wonder. After all, what could scare off the hyenas, mark the land with flame, and leave the grass whispering in dread? You take another step forward, and that's when the moon finally decides to join the night. It slips from behind a tattered cloud, casting pale light over the grassland and revealing the shadows. Tall shadows. Too tall. They stretch across the burned patches like silent sentinels, shapes that shouldn't be there. Shapes that move with a slow, measured rhythm that makes your skin crawl. You squint, hoping your eyes are playing tricks, but no. They're real. Shadows of something massive, something that shouldn't exist anymore if it ever did. The moonlight catches on what you first thought was just dark grass, but now you see it's the outline of a creature. No, a thing, broad-backed, thick-legged, its head too high for comfort. It moves slowly, deliberately, its shape distorting the starlight like a bad dream. The hyenas were right to run. Historians still debate whether legends of giant grassland beasts, animals too large for even the bravest hunter to challenge, were based on memory, myth, or both. Fossils suggest mammoths, giant buffalo, and ancient rhinos once roamed these lands. But whatever walks ahead of you tonight doesn't match those bones. You try a joke voice, tight? Well, it's official. I'm the least dangerous thing out here. But the night doesn't laugh. The grass seems to bend further as if bowing before whatever casts those colossal shadows. The creature pauses. You feel it more than see it. The weight of its presence presses the air flat, makes your breath shallow. The ground beneath your feet feels tighter as if bracing for what comes next. And for a heartbeat, you think maybe it's seen me. Here's an odd fact to distract you. Some ancient grassland birds built nests so large they could fit a full-grown man inside. The kind of nest you could hide in right now if only one were nearby. But tonight, the land offers no shelter. You crouch low, hoping the grass will hide you. Though part of you knows it's useless. The thing's shadow crosses the fire-scarred soil, and the burns seem to darken further as if recoiling from its touch. The breeze picks up, carrying that smell again, ash rot and the sharp tang of fear. The creature, the beast, moves again. Its step slow, deliberate, as if it owns the night. Each step sends a faint vibration through the ground, felt more than heard. The grass around its path lies flat in its wake, and the moonlight turns its outline into a moving mountain. You think of the hyenas, how they fled without a sound, without a fight. And now you understand. This wasn't just a predator they avoided. This was something outside their world, something the grassland itself seemed to dread. The shadows shift as the beast turns, angling away from you, moving toward a distant line of trees barely visible at the horizon. Relief wars with curiosity. Part of you wants to bolt in the opposite direction, but another part can't look away. Historians still debate whether ancient hunters spoke of beasts like this to frighten children, or whether they truly believed the grasslands held monsters beyond their imagining. Tonight, you suspect the latter. You straighten slowly, careful not to make a sound. The breeze brushes your face again, cooler now, and you realize you're shaking not from cold, but from the weight of what you've seen. The creature fades into the distance, its massive form swallowed by shadow, its colossal footprints left behind in the moonlit ash. You exhale, not realizing you've been holding your breath, and the night begins to breathe again with you. The grass stirs the stars steady, but the memory of that shadow will follow you for the rest of your days. The wind finds its voice again, carrying with it the familiar rustle of grass and the faint chorus of insects reclaiming their night. But the air still tastes wrong, smoky bitter, with a hint of something spoiled beneath. You wipe your mouth with the back of your hand as if that might scrub away the flavor of ash and fear. As dawn creeps in, the eastern horizon smudges with color. Not the usual soft blush of sunrise, but a strange, heavy orange, like the sky has been bruised. And hanging in that pale light, you see it, a smoky veil drifting low over the grasslands, soft as a memory, but thick enough to blur the distance. You breathe it in and instantly regret it. The smoke coats your throat, leaving it dry and raw. The grass at your feet seems to bow beneath this new weight, the blades dulled by a dusting of ash. You rub your eyes, trying to clear the sting, but the world stays hazy. Here's a fact for you: natural fires on ancient grasslands often left behind fertile soil, helping fresh grass sprout stronger than before. But historians still debate whether certain sudden, massive burns, the kind that darkened entire skies, were sparked by nature alone or by something stranger, something lost to us. The scene before you feels like the aftermath of one of those long-forgotten infernos. You walk on the ground, soft and uneven, beneath the ash. The breeze tugs at your clothes and the grass sways in slow, uneasy waves. It's as if the land itself can't decide whether to settle or flee. Your boots crunch over a patch where the grass has been stripped to bare soil. The earth here glistens faintly as if damp, but when you touch it, your fingers come away dusty and dry. The smell of the smoke clings to you, a bitter reminder of whatever passed through. Just a morning stroll, you mutter, trying to break the tension. Ash in the lungs, mystery in the air, what could go wrong? But the joke falls flat, swallowed by the haze. The smoky veil thickens as you push forward, the world narrowing to the space of a few paces. Shapes loom and vanish in the fog, tricks of light and shadow that set your heart racing before they dissolve into harmless clumps of grass. And then you see it, a patch of grass where the blades are blackened at the tips as if scorched from above. The burn is too precise, too local, not the sweep of wildfire, but the mark of something deliberate. You crouch, fingers brushing the fragile blades, feeling the brittle snap as they break apart. Odd fact for the morning, some ancient insects long vanished from these plains could create smoke like clouds as a defense, spitting out chemicals that confused predators. But nothing that small could have blackened the sky like this. You stand staring across the endless field of smoky grass. The world feels warped, stretched thin by whatever passed through. You think again of the hyenas, how they fled without looking back, how they knew better than to face what you now follow. The breeze shifts, and with it comes a sound, not the low hum of before, but a faint crackling, like embers hidden beneath the soil. You pause, listening, the hair on your arms rising. The crackle fades, returns, as if the ground itself remembers fire. Historians still debate whether ancient grassland hunters ever used controlled burns to trap large prey, or whether that's a modern fantasy we've projected backward. But as the ash drifts around you, you wonder if those fires sometimes trapped things they hadn't meant to. The smoky dawn deepens, the sun struggling to break through, painting the world in sickly gold. The grass bends beneath the ash. The air hums with tension, and ahead, always ahead, the trail leads on. You follow, because turning back no longer feels like an option. You push through the haze, every step stirring ash into low, lazy spirals that drift up before falling again like tired snow. The grass thins here, giving way to patches of bare soil. And then your foot strikes something solid hidden beneath the dust. You glance down and freeze. Bones. Not scattered the way a scavenger leaves them, not gnawed or snapped. These bones are arranged, stacked with unsettling precision. Rib cages aligned like the ribs of some forgotten ship skulls, placed upright, hollow sockets, staring skyward. The ash dusts them gently, as if the land itself tried to cover this grim display. You crouch beside them, heart hammering. The arrangement is too neat to be chance. Even hyenas, with all their chaotic feasting, wouldn't leave such order behind. And it's not the work of weather, no wind or flood would place the bones like this, each set positioned as if to form a warning no creature dared ignore. Historians still debate whether early human ancestors created bone markers or totems in these ancient plains, or whether nature sometimes left strange patterns that later fed our myths. Tonight, kneeling here, you don't much care about scholarly arguments. The message feels clear: don't go farther. The air seems heavier among the bones. The smoke lingers, caught in the hollow places where eyes once were, in the spaces between ribs. You reach out, fingertips brushing a skull, half expecting it to crumble, but it holds firm, cold, and smooth beneath the ash. Here's an odd fact to chew on. There's a species of modern bird, the shrike, that impales its prey on thorns or barbed wire, leaving behind macabre displays. Nature has always had a flair for unsettling decor. But this is something else entirely. You rise slowly, brushing ash from your knees, eyes sweeping the field. More bone piles dot the grassland ahead, each one the same, neat, deliberate, unnerving. No sign of what made them, no sign of struggle, just the silent testament of things that once lived, now arranged as warning. You try to lighten the mood for yourself, if no one else. Nice of them to leave a guest book. But the words taste bitter. Even the grass seems to recoil from these bone stacks, leaving circles of bare earth around each pile. The breeze stirs again, carrying that now familiar scent, rot, sweetened by time, smoke gone stale, and something metallic beneath. The bones seem to hum with it, as if holding on to the memory of whatever placed them here. You step carefully between the marker's boots, sinking slightly into the soft ash. The world feels narrowed, funneled by these grim guides. Each pile seems to point you onward, as if daring you to continue. And despite every instinct screaming at you to turn back, you do. Because at this point, what choice do you have? Historians still debate whether ancient predators, those that might have roamed before the hyenas, left behind trophies or warnings of their own. Tonight, you're starting to suspect the latter. Ahead, the smoke thickens again, blurring the world to gray. The grass fades beneath your feet, replaced by bare, cracked soil that seems to sigh beneath your weight. The bone piles fade behind you, their silent warnings carried now only in memory. And you keep walking deeper into the mystery that even hyenas dared not face. The cracked soil gives way once more to patches of stubborn grass, but even here the land feels wrong. The blades seem limp, as if they've forgotten how to sway with the breeze. And that breeze, it carries something new now, a scent so strange it stops you mid-step. It's sweet at first, like overripe fruit or wildflowers left too long in the sun. But beneath that sweetness lies something sour, a note of decay that turns your stomach. You cover your nose with your sleeve, but the odor clings thick and cloying. The grass itself seems to lean away from the source, bending as if to escape. You follow the scent drawn forward by dread and curiosity in equal measure. The grass parts ahead, revealing a hollow, shallow, but wide, its edges lined with scorched earth. And at the center of this hollow, you see it, a tangle of something dark and indistinct at first glance. Fur feathers. Both. You creep closer, boots sinking slightly into soft soil, and realize what you're seeing. The remains of a kill, or rather not a kill. The carcass lies untouched, the body intact, except for what time and exposure have taken. No teeth marks, no signs of feeding. It's as if the predator that brought it down wanted no part of it afterward. Historians still debate whether ancient hyenas ever abandoned kills out of fear, or if only human imagination gives such behavior to beasts. But tonight you're certain whatever passed through here scared even the scavengers from their prize. You kneel beside the hollow. The scent stronger here, sharp enough to sting your eyes. The carcass is sunken, the skin drawn tight over bone, yet whole in a way that's deeply unsettling. Flies buzz at the edges, but not as many as you'd expect. Even the insects seem hesitant. Here's an odd fact to distract you. Certain ancient flowers on these plains evolved scents that mimicked rotting flesh, tricking scavengers into spreading their seeds. The air tonight makes you wonder if the land itself plays such cruel games. You rise, glancing around. The grass at the hollow's rim is burned at the tips, as if scorched by heat that never touched the soil. The air here feels heavy, as if the hollow holds more than the carcass, as if it holds a memory, a warning. You mutter, "So dinner was served and refused." That's comforting. But the words fall flat against the silence, swallowed by the weight of the place. The wind shifts again, carrying that sickly sweet odor across the plains. You follow it because turning back feels no safer than going on. The ground rises gently ahead, and as you climb, you glance back at the hollow, its dark secret fading into the smoky dawn. Historians still debate whether the ancient grasslands bred predators beyond our knowing creatures, whose presence alone turned the natural order upside down. The untouched kill at your back makes you think the old stories may have had some truth, and so you walk, the scent guiding you now, like a rope pulling at your senses. The grass bends before you, the soil soft beneath your feet, and the breeze hums with the tension of a land that remembers too much. The breeze carries that unsettling sweetness deeper into your lungs as you press forward, the scent thick enough now that you can almost taste it. Honey turned sour, wildflowers steeped too long in stagnant water. And yet it draws you on like a melody you can't help but follow, even though you know the tune ends badly. You crest the rise and pause. The land below sprawls open, a wide stretch of grassland interrupted by odd pale shapes that catch the dawn light. At first you think bones again, but As the haze thins, you see the truth carcasses. Dozens of them. Sprawled in the grass, untouched, unmarked. You pick your way down the slope, boots soft in the ash-dusted grass. The closer you get, the stranger it becomes. These aren't the chaotic leftovers of a predator's feast, nor the scatter of a panicked herd caught by flood or fire. No, these bodies lie where they fell, as if sleep simply overtook them mid-step, and not one shows signs of tooth or claw. Historians still debate whether ancient die-offs on these plains were the work of disease, drought, or some force beyond natural explanation. Tonight, or rather this dawn, it feels like the latter. You kneel beside a fallen antelope, fingers brushing the coarse fur, expecting the brittle texture of decay. But no, the coat feels almost alive, the body firm beneath the skin. Fresh, too fresh. You glance at its eyes, dull but intact, and shiver. Whatever happened here, it happened recently. The sweet rot of the air clings to you, soaking into your clothes, your hair. You cough, the taste thick on your tongue, and straighten, slowly scanning the field. The bodies form no clear pattern, but they share one thing in common: they've all been left alone. No hyena, no vulture, no insect has dared claim this grim harvest. Odd fact for you. In some modern grasslands, certain plants emit chemicals that deter scavengers from approaching carcasses, buying time for the soil to reclaim what's left. But no plant could explain this, no trick of nature would leave such bounty untouched. You try to joke, though your voice comes out hoarse. It's official. I'm the only thing on this plain that hasn't dropped dead yet. The words fade fast, lost in the vast silence. You step carefully between the bodies, the grass beneath your feet, flattened where the creatures fell. The breeze tugs at your sleeves, carrying that dreadful sweetness onward as if trying to lead you to its source. Historians still debate whether ancient hunters saw such scenes as omens, blessings of easy meat, or curses of unseen doom. You know where you stand on the matter. Ahead, the grass thickens once more, tall and dark against the rising sun. The sweet scent intensifies, and the land hums faintly beneath your feet, a subtle vibration that seems to echo your own heartbeat. And so you follow. Because what else can you do? The mystery that frightened off the hyenas waits ahead, and turning back won't change what you've seen. You follow the hum beneath your feet, boots brushing through grass that seems to cling a little too long to your legs, as if reluctant to let you pass. The sweet, sickly air thickens with each step, and your head feels light, as though the scent is trying to lull you into forgetting why you came. And then you see it. The ground ahead yawns wide, a pit not natural but not quite artificial either. The hollow is ringed with stones, large, dark, and worn smooth, as if shaped by 1,000 storms or by hands older than memory. The pit is deep enough that the bottom is lost to shadow, though the rising sun throws gold along the rim. You hesitate at its edge, the soil crumbling slightly beneath your weight. The hum grows louder here, not a sound exactly, but a vibration that travels up through your boots into your bones. It feels like standing too close to a waterfall, though no water flows. Historians still debate whether ancient people marked sacred or cursed places with rings of stone, or whether these features are the work of erosion, misread by modern eyes. But staring at this pit, you can't imagine it as anything but a marker or a grave. You crouch, peering and heart thudding. The air from the pit is cooler, but it carries that same sweet stench, stronger now, enough to sting your nose and make your stomach clench. Shapes litter the rim, shards of bone, bits of wood, pieces of things you can't quite name, objects that seem out of place on this empty plain. Odd fact to distract you: some ancient burrowing animals like giant armadillos left behind, pits that confused early archaeologists who mistook them for human-made shelters. But no animal made this. The pit feels wrong in a way that has nothing to do with natural history. You stand brushing ash from your hands, glancing at the stones as if expecting one to move. The breeze circles the pit, carrying ash and the sweet rot smell into your face as if trying to drive you back. You force a joke, voice low. And I thought hyena dens were bad. but the humor falters in the hush swallowed by the pit's silent watch. You step back carefully, the soil shifting beneath you, the stones seeming to lean in just a little. The pit waits patient and dark, as if it's seen 1,000 curious souls peer in and waits to see if you'll be one who stays. Historians still debate whether pits like this inspired tales of underworlds, of gates to lands of the dead. You can see how they might. You can feel how they might. The hum fades as you move away, the grass reclaiming the space around your feet, the breeze tugging you onward. Whatever left the hyenas too afraid to stay, it passed this way, and the pit marks its passage like a scar. You keep walking because turning back would mean facing the pit again, and that seems worse somehow. The land slopes gently away from the pit, and as you follow the trail of ash and crushed grass, something strange catches your eye. A glint of light where no water should be. You quicken your pace, eager for anything familiar, anything normal, but as you crest a low rise, you stop dead. Below you runs a river, or what should be a river, but it flows the wrong way. The water, dark and slow under the dawn light, pulls upstream against the lay of the land. You stare, heart-thudding, watching as it defies the pull of gravity and sense alike. You edge closer, the breeze carrying the river's cool dampness, a welcome change from the ash and rot. But the scent beneath that sickly sweet note lingers even here. The water's surface ripples gently, as if stirred by a wind that hasn't reached your skin. Historians still debate whether reports of rivers running backward in ancient times were poetic exaggerations, natural tidal quirks, or records of rare disasters, earthquakes, floods, strange celestial tides. But standing here watching the impossible, none of those explanations feel quite right. You crouch at the bank, dipping your fingers in the water. It's cold, far colder than it should be on this warm morning. The chill bites at your skin and you draw back quickly, rubbing your fingers dry on your sleeve. The taste of ash is gone from the air here, replaced by something subtler, a metallic tang that coats your tongue with every breath. Here's an odd fact: in some parts of the world, rare windstorms and landslides have caused rivers to temporarily reverse, confusing all who lived along their banks. But this is no brief fluke. The water flows steadily, stubbornly, as if drawn by a force buried deep within the land. You follow the river bank for a while, boots soft in the damp earth, watching as it threads its way across the grassland. The plants closest to it seem wilted, their leaves edged in black. The breeze brings the sound of water over stone, a sound that should soothe, but instead sets your nerves on edge. You try a joke, weak but needed. At least I won't get lost, just follow the world's most confused river. But the laugh that should follow sticks in your throat. You pause at a bend, where the river pools briefly before continuing its strange course. The water there is darker, as if holding secrets in its depths. You stare, half expecting some ancient shape to rise from it, half dreading that nothing will happen at all. Historians still debate whether rivers like these, recorded in fragmented oral histories, inspired myths of underworld crossings, of places where the world's laws fail. Looking at this river, you begin to understand how such stories might take root. The breeze stirs, and the sweet rot smell returns stronger now, as if the river has carried it with it upstream from some hidden source. The grass leans toward the water, the soil soft beneath your feet, and you keep walking because whatever scared the hyenas passed this way, and you are determined, for reasons even you don't understand, to see it through. You follow the river's strange course until it disappears into a stand of trees, their trunks blackened at the base as if scorched by old fire, or perhaps stained by time. The grass here thins the soil soft beneath your boots, marked now and then by prints too old or too distorted to read. The breeze carries with it a new sound, low, guttural, and faint as a memory. You pause, heart quickening, listening hard. The sound repeats, a deep, throaty rumble that seems to float between the trees. At first, you think it's the wind, maybe the river's trickery playing with your ears. But then it comes again, unmistakable this time. A roar, but wrong, too hollow, too distant, too much like an echo of something long dead. Historians still debate whether ancient reports of ghost lions, Lions larger, stronger, and stranger than any living species were exaggerations born of fear or records of now lost giants. Whatever the truth, the grassland legends speak of lions that haunted places no other predator dared tread. You step forward cautiously, the trees swallowing the light, the air cooler here, thick with the mingled scents of ash, damp wood, and that same sweet rot that seems to follow your every step. You feel watched, though no eyes greet yours. An odd fact for the uneasy moment. Ancient lions once roamed these plains, some twice the size of modern cats, their bones found in caves and old riverbeds. They were hunters of hunters, kings of kings. But the thing that made that sound, it feels older than bones. You slip between the trees, feet soft on the loamy soil, the undergrowth sparse, as if the place is too sacred or too cursed for plants to thrive. The breeze dies entirely here, and with it, the sound of the river. The only noise now is that rumble, soft, steady, as if the land itself is trying to remember how to roar. You try a whisper of humor just to fill the quiet. Bet I'm on some ancient lion's dinner menu. But the joke dies as quickly as it's spoken, swallowed by the hush. The trees part suddenly, revealing a small clearing. The soil bare, the grass burned to stubble. And there at the center, deep gouges score the earth in a circle, as if something massive paced here, round and round, wearing the ground away. You crouch, brushing your fingers over one of the grooves. The soil is cold. The marks too deep, too clean to be ancient. The ghost lion, or whatever inspired the story, was here not long ago. Historians still debate whether such creatures lived alongside early humans long enough to shape their myths, or whether our ancestors inherited stories from even older voices. But standing here, you wonder whether some myths never die because the truth that sparked them still walks the land. The air hums faintly again, the roar returning low and distant, as if from beneath your feet. The grass at the clearing's edge stirs at last, as if relieved the thing has moved on, and you, with nowhere else to go, follow where the prints lead. The path beyond the clearing winds through grass that seems to have forgotten how to stand tall. The blades droop heavy with ash and dew, as if weighed down by the memory of whatever circled that bare patch of earth. Your boots leave dark prints in the softened soil, each step matched by the low hum that rises and fades beneath your feet. The dawn sky, smeared with smoke and strange light, begins to darken again. You glance up, expecting the sun to finally break through, but instead, clouds boil across the heavens, thick and red, as if the sky itself has been set alight. A gust of wind stirs the grass, and with it comes the first drop of rain. It lands on your cheek, warm and sticky. You brush it away, and your fingers come back smeared with crimson. Another drop, then another, until the rain falls in earnest red, thick, staining the soil, the grass, your skin. The storm has arrived. Historians still debate whether ancient accounts of blood rain were true records of strange weather colored by dust or spores, or whether they were symbols layered onto real storms by frightened minds. But tonight, this dawn that feels like night, the rain is red and it is real. You stand in it, the drops pattering softly on your shoulders, your hair the brim of your hood. The air fills with the smell of wet iron, of old blood of earth newly opened. The grass drinks it in, the soil darkens, and the prints you've been following begin to blur, as if the storm means to erase the trail. Odd fact for you to ponder: modern science has found rare cases of red rain caused by dust from deserts or microscopic life carried on the wind. But no science offers comfort here as the sky weeps crimson over the grasslands. The hyenas, you think of them now. How they fled before this storm. How they vanished into the night. You envy their instinct, their wisdom to run. But you're here, and the rain hides the world, and whatever you follow feels closer than ever. You try a joke, weak but needed. Free horror show and a shower. What a deal! The words sound hollow in the hush, the storm swallowing sound as easily as it swallows the land. You move forward because what else is there? The rain runs down your neck, clings to your lashes, paints your hands. The grass parts reluctantly before you, the soil softening footprints filling with red water. And somewhere ahead, beyond sight, beyond sound, whatever scared the hyenas waits for you in the heart of the storm. The rain softens the land beneath your feet, turning ash-dusted soil to dark, sticky mud that grips at your boots. Every step makes a wet sound, a soft squelch that seems too loud in the hush of the red dawn. The grass droops further under the weight of the storm, its blades slick and stained. And beneath it all, you feel it again, the ground pulsing faintly beneath your soles. It's subtle at first, like the faint tremor of a drum beaten far away. But as you walk, the rhythm grows steadier, stronger. The earth rises beneath you in shallow breaths, then falls again, as if something vast stirs beneath the surface. You stop heart racing, trying to convince yourself it's your imagination. But the mud quivers around your feet, the water in your footprints ripples with each unseen heartbeat of the land. Historians still debate whether ancient grassland peoples believed in a living earth, a world that breathed and dreamed beneath their feet, or whether such tales were metaphor born of longing and fear. But right now, metaphor feels far too real. You crouch hand pressed flat to the mud, feeling the tremor through your palm. It's not violent, not like a quake. It's steady, patient, as if the ground waits for something, or is something waiting. The red rain patters on your back, dripping from your fingers as you rise again. Here's an odd fact to lighten the mood. Some modern burrowing animals create tunnels so vast that when wind passes through them, the ground seems to hum. But no burrow could make the plains breathe beneath your feet. The grass thins as you move on the soil, bare in patches, wet and dark like fresh clay. The wind stirs at last, carrying the scent of the storm iron ash and that sweet, sick rot that clings to the heart of this land. You follow the rhythm, your steps matching the pulse without meaning to, drawn forward, as if the ground itself guides you. You try another joke, your voice low. If the earth's going to wake up, I hope it's had coffee. But even the storm doesn't bother to laugh. The rise ahead looms larger now, a long swell of land that seems to shiver in the rain. The pulse grows stronger as you climb the mud, sucking at your boots, the grass brushing your legs like cold fingers. And with each step, the sense grows whatever scared the hyenas wasn't just a creature. It was the land itself, or something the land tried to forget. Historians still debate whether ancient fears of earth spirits and buried monsters were born from seismic rumblings, from the creak of shifting stone, or from something older, deeper. Tonight, as the storm softens the world to mud and shadow, you wonder if they were warnings. You crest the rise, the pulse loud in your bones now and below. A stretch of bare earth waits dark and open, as if the land has drawn a breath and holds it. And you stand on its edge, rain dripping from your chin, knowing the final truth waits just beyond. The rise falls away beneath your feet into a basin of bare, sodden earth. The rain has eased now, falling in lazy drops that splatter into the mud, sending up small bursts of red, stained water. The land here is empty of grass, of stone, of anything that might comfort the eye. Just dark soil, slick with rain and trembling faintly with that now familiar pulse. You step forward, boots sinking deep with each stride, the mud reluctant to let you pass. The hum beneath you has grown steady like the heartbeat of some great buried thing. The air is still heavy with the scent of wet iron and old earth and that sweet rot that clings to the end of all things. And then at the center of the basin it happens. The ground shifts. Slow, deliberate, the earth rises, no quake, no violence, just soil lifting, as if something beneath has finally decided to show itself. Historians still debate whether ancient tales of beasts sleeping beneath the world, waiting to rise, were allegory for natural disaster, or the record of some long-lost terror. But here in this moment, the difference no longer matters. The truth stands before you, and it is stranger than either. The shape that emerges is no beast you've seen, no creature carved on cave walls or etched into bone. It is massive. Yes, shoulders like stone, a head low, and long limbs that seem too thick, too ancient for flesh. Mud coats it, drips from it as if the land tried to swallow it and failed. The eyes, if they are eyes, gleam faintly, the light of the storm caught in their depths. Here's an odd fact to chew on in this final hour. The oldest known fossils of grassland creatures date back tens of millions of years, yet none match what you see now. No tooth, no bone, ever hinted at this. You stand still, breath shallow, watching as the thing, this forgotten beast, takes a step forward. The ground sighs beneath its weight, the pulse of the earth slowing to match its rhythm. The rain washes mud from its flanks, revealing hide like stone, etched with scars older than language. You try to speak a joke, a plea, anything but the words die on your tongue. The hyenas fled because they knew. The grass bent because it remembered. And now you understand why. The creature turns its head slow, heavy, as if seeing you for the first time, and then, as if satisfied, or as if you are beneath its notice, it moves past, disappearing into the rain and the red-stained grass beyond. The land exhales beneath your feet, the pulse fading, the hum gone. You are alone now. The storm softening, the dawn breaking at last through the clouds. The grassland breathes quietly again, as if nothing happened at all. But you know, you've seen what made the hyenas run, what marked the land with fire, what haunted the bones of beasts and the hearts of men. And as you stand in the quiet morning, the mud cooling at your feet, the sky clearing, at last you realize the grassland will keep its secret, and so will you. The storm has passed. The grassland stretches before you now, soft beneath the dawn light, as if all the terror of the night were just a dream. The land is too old to remember. The breeze returns gentle and clean, carrying the scent of wet earth and new growth. The mud cools beneath your feet, the soil steady once more, the pulse of the earth quieted to memory. And the red rain has washed the world clean, leaving only the hush of morning and the soft rustle of grass reclaiming its place. The prints, the bones, the ash all fading now beneath the light. The hyenas are gone, and with them the last echo of what haunted the night. You stand a moment longer, the breeze brushing your face, the sun warm at last on your shoulders. The land stretches on ancient and endless, and you turn at last, your footprints, the only mark you leave behind. The grassland will forget in time, but you will not.